Hello, peoples. In this episode, I'm here to talk about the latest book by one of my favorite writers. It will be Brian Keene's Pressure. Yeah, I've been a fan of Keene's work for, I don't know, almost a decade now. The very first book I ever read would have been Dead Sea, which came out in paperback in, I think, 2007 or so. So it's been, I guess, like 9 years now. That would be a zombie novel. His third one, which is not connected to his main zombie arc, but I'm not getting into that because this book isn't a zombie novel, so it doesn't matter. Of course, if you don't know, Brian Keene is a multi-award winning grandmaster of horror. Yeah, like I said, the first book I read was Dead Sea. But other favorites of mine would be, well, probably be The Last of the Albatwitches, for reasons that I'm not going to get into here, because part of it has to do with my secret identity. Also, the fact that I live in the area where that story is set. And it stars one of my favorite Brian Keene characters, Levi Stoltzfus, the Amish Magus, who's a really cool character. Probably just about my favorite, one of my favorite ones in horror fiction. Except, the only one I think it was maybe better is F. Paul Wilson's Repairman Jack. You know, I guess if you want to count Manly Wade Woman's Silver John as horror, I'm trying to think of that more as fantasy. Anyway, I'm getting way off the track here. Because I'm not here to talk about my favorite horror series characters. I'm here to talk about Pressure. Now, like I said, Brian Keene is a multi-award-winning grandmaster of horror, but this book, it's not really a horror novel. It's more of a thriller with some, horror overtones, but definitely tends to lean a lot more towards thriller than horror. Now, I guess I will do my usual reading from the beginning of the book.
While we wait for Carrie Anderson and Peter Schofield to resurface from this unprecedented expedition, but even as the mouth of hell continues to open and preparations for the possible evacuation of Mauritius proceed, there is now concern that the islands of Rodriguez and Reunion may need to be evacuated as well. One researcher who spoke to me on the condition of anonymity said, "Hang on, Jessamine, we lost the connection." Jessamine Wheatley sighed in frustration. "Damn it, Hank! It's not my fault. Stand by." Frowning, Hank turned his attention to the equipment. He cursed beneath his breath. Jessamine crossed her arms in frustration. Their cameraman, Kem, tried defusing the tension by smiling at each of them in turn. "Oh, knock it off," Jessamine told him. "Just because your name means one with peace and joy in Hindi doesn't mean you have to live it every day." Kim's smile slowly faltered. "I'm sorry." Jessamine handed him her microphone. He accepted it without comment. "Somebody's in a mood." Julio, the fourth member of their team, stepped forward with his makeup kit. "Let's do something with your hair while we wait. This tropical climate has made those red bangs go limp as spaghetti." He reached for her hair, but Jessamine pushed his hand away. "My hair is fine. Do something useful for a change. Help Hank get our connection back." Julio clucked his tongue against the roof of his mouth and gave him a knowing glance. The two of them turned their backs to her, whispering amongst themselves. Jessamine immediately felt guilty, and then felt guilty about feeling guilty. My therapist would have a field day with it, she thought. She'd probably call it displaced aggression against the patriarchal news industry, because she says everything I do is that.
Yeah, that was from the first chapter. As you can see, it's the first chapter. It's mostly setup in most books. I should probably try and find more action things, or interesting bits to read for readings from the books, but I probably won't bother. But what you can pick up from that is, something is happening near Mauritius, which is a small African country on the east coast of Africa. Apparently what's happening is that the seafloor is collapsing for reasons that are unknown. And there's a big sciencey vessel out with divers going under the water to figure it out. And you got the reporter lady and her crew, and they're not really all that important. They're mostly minor characters who are just there for the first chapter, pop up once in the middle of the book to annoy the main character, and then pop up near the end to help her out again. Because the main character is one of the divers that's mentioned. That would be Carrie Anderson. She and the other person who are diving down there run into trouble. She's the only survivor. Because it turns out there's a monster down there. Nasty tentacles and claws and pincers and stabby bits, and just a really weird creature, completely unnatural seeming. Then it also turns out that there's, a secret conspiracy with a major corporation that's like evil, because, major corporations are always evil in these sorts of stories. This one is, I think, a biopharmaceutical company or something, but, they're running an evil conspiracy. Really, conspiracies are a fairly big thing in Brian Keene's novels, too. He seems to really like them. In fact, I know he's planning on starting a conspiracy theory podcast soon. Personally, I've never cared for conspiracy theories that much. They're, I don't know, not my thing. But they work really well in horror, and especially in thrillers like this. Unlike most of his novels, there's not much in the way of supernatural elements. There are, for those of you who are Brian Keene fans, there are some things that tie into his overall labyrinth mythos. Globe Company gets mentioned several times, and they're one of the evil conspiracy background bad guys in several of the stories. And Black Lodge gets mentioned, who are slightly less evil, conspiracy background, sometimes good guy things in some of the stories. And if you don't read his stuff, you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, so you can just ignore that last part. One thing that you will see, like you usually do in Brian's novels, is a lot of gore when it gets to the monstery bits. Because, the monster doesn't hesitate to rip people into pieces with guts spilling out everywhere and blood flying all over the place. And it also secretes neurotoxins that make people hallucinate. And it interferes with electronics for some reason that I didn't really understand, even when it was explained. And I gotta say, really like the monster. Cool monster. And, it's a good book. I always like Brian Keene's books. He's one of my favorite writers, so it's not surprising I like this. It's a nice change of pace for him. To do something that's not really 100% horror. I mean, he's done some other stuff that's not quite completely horror. In fact, he's been trying lots of different stuff lately. This is one of them. Well, like I said, I enjoyed it. It's a good book. I recommend it to people who like thrillers and like horror and like stories with sea monsters. This is one of the coolest sea monsters I've read in a while. Not that I actually read a lot of sea monster novels, really. They're not, I don't think they're all that popular genre, really. Yeah. So, like I said, I recommend this to people who like that kind of thing. Definitely worth checking out. I will give it, I decided to abandon my previous thing of doing letter grades, and instead I'm giving it 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 5 gas masks. Picture gas masks as being like stars, only they're gas masks because I'm wearing a gas mask. Now, up next, we'll have more reviews soon. Either Brain Eater Jones or the fantasy novel I'm reading on my Kindle, whose name I can't remember. Who knows when they'll be up, but soon. Till then, I will keep reading them, and you try reading something that I recommended. Why now, don't you? Because I've read a lot of good books, and you'll probably like them. Goodbye!
If you like this video, please click subscribe or watch some of my older videos. If you think the book I reviewed sounds interesting, buy a copy. There are always links to the Amazon store in the description for this book and any other books I mentioned. If you have any suggestions on other books I could read, or any other comments, queries, insults, or anything else you want to say, please feel free to mention it in the comments section.